Ready? Dun 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 dun. Is your heart racing? It smells really good. Okay. Is it the same flavor still?
Yeah.
Alright, it smells good. It tastes good too, but it smells pretty good. Alright guys, welcome to KG Overtime. Your host, Matty B, whatever you want to say, OG Matty, but I have a great concept today that we're going to discuss over. It's going to be about depression. Really want to get you guys thinking about that, how to overcome it, how to just pretty much push it aside and keep moving along and focusing on the ideals that you want to do. And I have a co-host with me by the name of Mark. Go ahead, Mark.
Hello, hello. What am I supposed to say?
So, Mark is one of my best friends. A lot of people call him the tattoo guy because not only does he have a shit ton of tattoos all over him, including his face, neck, legs,
toes.
I don't know if he has one on his butt, but I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I have one on my butt.
Okay, there we go. So the answer is there. But he's one of my best friends. I know personally that he's dealt with depression. I mean, I know a lot of people have a little bit of everything, anxiety, depression, blah, 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 whatever you want to call it, but he has dealt with it before, and I don't want to say he's an expert, but I mean, he's knowledgeable on the fact.
It's been a while. I was diagnosed years and years ago, and I'm pretty sure they determined the start of my depression was in 7th grade, which is usually around when a lot of people start feeling it is middle school is what I've heard a lot of people tell me.
You know what triggered it?
I honestly don't have any idea what any of my triggers were. I just remember when I started feeling depressed and anxious and all of that.
Well, when you say feeling depressed and anxious, how does one know that they're feeling it, if that makes sense? You know what I mean?
It's kind of like when you just have that feeling of almost existential dread when you don't want to get out of bed.
Big words, I like it.
Yeah. when you don't want to get out of bed, you don't feel like doing things that you normally enjoy doing, when you don't seem to feel like you have the energy to do anything. That's when you start feeling real bad symptoms of depression.
Yeah.
But a lot of people think that it's just being sad, but really it causes increased irritability, and you can even just you could be super drastic with it, a drastic change in your personality, or it could just be kind of minor depression instead of major.
Well, if your personality would change in a drastic way, would that be considered schizo too, or?
No, nothing like that. It's more a bigger change like that would probably have a bigger trigger. Okay. If you had if you were say 10 or 11 or something like that, and one of your parents died, and then you just all of a sudden you kind of go catatonic almost, and you start secluding yourself, and you don't eat as much, or maybe you start overeating, or there's a ton of things that go into it.
Right. No, that's good. And for you people out there, I'm not a big fan of depression. I've gone through depressed moments and stuff like that, and I remember going through one of my first ones when I was younger, of just moving to a new state, from PA to Ohio. I didn't really know I was going through a depressed moment, but I could feel it, but I didn't know what it was. So I kind of put it on the back burner. And I've been doing that consistently throughout my life. And I tell you what, that shit builds up, and you should not let that shit build up.
No.
Because you, not too long ago, I can be the most motivational person out there, but at the end of the day, everybody's human. So I know going through that hardship and whatever the case may be, whatever situation you're in or anything like that, going through a breakup, you just lost your house, or, you know, one of your kids tell you that they hate you or something, I don't know, anything, right? But it's just that build up and then that explosion, that episode is not fun.
No, it's not.
Yes, speak on it.
So, a lot of time, I feel like anxiety and depression go a little bit hand in hand, because I'm like anxious too, and like if you've ever had a panic attack, that shit sucks.
Yeah, I had a panic attack the one time we were at a family function, and I waited until like the end, but like it was eating me away that whole time for like 2 hours straight. I was just sitting there, just like you said, irritated, fucking mad, just like I did not want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to see anybody. I didn't want to look at anybody. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to drink anything. And like towards the end, I snuck away and just went in a little dark corner in my room and just like blew up.
Yep. I've had quite a few of them, and the best thing that I've like found to try to counter it is I actually learned it from my therapist, and he's the reason why I am the way I am right now, like why I can actually deal with it to the length that I can actually function like a quote normal person.
Yeah.
Because of like diaphragmatic breathing. So like when you do that, breathe in for 4, breathe out for 8, and you just keep breathing, focus on the breath, come back to the like
Kind of takes your
like
mind away from what you're actually thinking of.
It's like taking a physical thing and grounding you in reality and getting you out of your own mind.
I like that. I like that. That's pretty cool. I know I just did a podcast with Gibby, and he was mentioning normal people, right?
Yeah.
He's so stupid. But like he said the honest thing. He's like, if you're normal, then he's like, you're not really like living, basically. He said, like, if you're not weird and you're not like going out there doing your thing, because usually when people do their own stuff, they're considered weird. Like, they're not doing what society wants them to do, you know? And I know when he was talking about it, he brought a lot of truth to it, which surprised me, because everyone out there, Mark knows Gibby, Gibby knows Mark, we all know each other. But it's just like, when Gibby says something smart, we're like, what? What, Gibby, what? You said something smart? Hello? But no, not to shit talk on Gibby, but he said that shit, and I was like, that's actually very true, because not a lot of people want to talk about that, especially in like today with everything going on. Everybody's just following whatever the social media says and news says and stuff like that. But
yeah, you don't want to be sheep. Don't be sheeple.
Yeah, don't be sheeple. Sheeple. don't want to be sheeple. I like that. That's my next caption on my Instagram.
Next caption on the Instagram.
Yeah, I'm gonna do something crazy, and it's gonna be "Don't be sheeple." That's it. I'm not gonna quote you. You don't deserve it.
I don't deserve it. I don't remember who said that. I don't remember where I heard it, but I heard it from somewhere, and I liked it.
Oh yeah.
The sheep people.
Sheeple. Are you sure you didn't hear it from like Family Guy or something?
You know what? It probably was. It was probably Brian.
Yeah. Oh shit. But let's go back to one of those episodes. What was the worst one for you?
It kind of depends on what you mean by worst.
Like, what made you feel the most depressed? Like, what made you feel the most shittiest? What made you feel like there was no coming back from this?
Maybe not so far as there's no coming back from it, but one of the worst ones I can remember is there's a tattoo artist that I used to go to, Zechariah Woodby, from like one of the local shops downtown.
Okay.
And he did my second tattoo ever, and it was like a 6-hour session, and I didn't smoke anything at the time. Like, I could have counted on 2 fingers. I only had like 2 cigarettes in my life, and one of them was because he went out for a smoke break, and I was like, hey, can I just bum one off you so we can like bond over this?
Yeah.
Because this is like a fun bonding thing for me. And then like, I guess he had his demons too, because I don't know what like happened really at all, because all I know is he wrote his note and posted it on Facebook, and I went to work one morning and got a text from one of my friends, and it said like, hey, did you see about like Zach? And I was like, oh, did he move to Denver or something like he always was talking about? Like, yeah, that's cool. And they were like, no, like, go look at his Facebook. And then I looked at it, read the note, and right when I finished reading it, hit 9 o'clock when we were supposed to start our work day. And I lasted about an hour, and then I just started tearing up, and I like had this like super big pressure in my chest. I started almost hyperventilating, and I just got up, walked away from my desk, and like straight past everybody. Everyone kind of looked at me like the fuck's wrong with Mark? And I went and hid in the hallway where it was all dark and no one was looking for me, and I cried for an hour.
No
like
shit.
A whole hour.
Damn.
And like for a while after that, I was just like, something like that is a good example of a trigger pulling you back into it. Because for a little while after that, I was back to being like really down all the time, really not up to talking to people as much, not wanting to do as much. But it's something that like you just gotta. Sometimes what I do is, it's called like event planning, or like you just schedule time that you make yourself go out and do things, and it gets you kind of out of that depression, because it's harder to be depressed when
you have something
going on, when you're actually like so instead of sitting at home in your bed, like not like, you could be watching TV, you could just have it on in the background, or just like I do. I don't even have a TV in my room. I just have a blank slate of a wall to look at, and you just sit there.
Dude, that would drive me nuts.
Instead of just sitting there and just feeling down on yourself and thinking about everything getting into your head and making it worse, you force yourself to go out and do something, and it kind of like, almost like that breathing exercise, it like grounds you in something and takes your mind off of it, because you don't have time to be depressed when you're doing something, you know?
Right, because it takes you away from the whole, like the breathing exercises. It takes you, it grounds you, it brings you back to, hey, I still live within everybody else too.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not no doctor, but that that must have. I don't think I've had any like that comes to mind. Like my good friends, I've never had any of them like commit suicide or anything like that. I've had friends that had friends commit suicide, but none of my close friends that are in my circle have never committed suicide. And I know back story time. I know back in I talked about this like briefly on the last episode of the podcast. I remember going back in time when I was like, doing a bunch of drugs and stuff like that. I remember I was popping like a bunch of perks and stuff. I stole them from my mom. Okay, and she had perks up in the cabinet, and I was just taking them. Took like half the bottle. I didn't take it all at once, but like periodically, you know how with perks you only gotta like take like one or two, and you're pretty much set for the majority of the day. I was taking at least 2 every 3 hours.
Oof.
Yeah. Okay. So by the time it got around 9, 10 o'clock at night, I was fucked up. I remember RJ. You know RJ.
Yeah.
We were going to the mall. We were shopping. This was earlier in the day, and I just popped them. And I didn't think anything of it. He was like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude?" And I was like, "Brad, don't worry about it. I'm gonna do me. Blah blah blah. We're going shopping. Let's go get shit." You know. So we did that, and then at the end of the night, Kelly. I can't remember if she was living in Australia at that time. She came back to visit or whatever, but it was Jeroni, Kelly, you know, Paige, Paige Moscow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then me. And I remember we were chilling. We went for a blunt ride, and we came back, and I I started sweating, started losing my vision and shit, and lost my balance and everything. I'm like sweating there, and I just look at Jeroni. I'm like, fuck. I like lit the words like help me. Like I tried to. I don't even know if I did it, but like I literally like looked at him like help me. Like fuck, I'm done, out. And honestly, it all goes back to like, you know, getting kicked out of my house and stuff like that, not having a good paying job. Like, when I get depressed, I always have the impulse gratification, if that makes sense. Like, I have to go do something rebellious in order to feel better about myself.
It's almost kind of like, I understand how you feel because that's how I have face tattoos.
Yay, Mark! Face tats!
Because it was after like, I don't even remember what caused the really bad depressive episode. It could have been any number of things, but I'm pretty sure what had happened was.
What had happened was. Go ahead.
I was just feeling really down and depressed, and almost similar to your story. I was because I used to do Xans.
Yeah.
And
I feel you on that.
And I stopped after I was taking them for like maybe I don't even remember how long. It was like a couple of weeks, and I just stopped all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Because I ran out and I didn't want to go buy more because I recognized that I should stop.
Yep.
And then I just started feeling like super shitty, and I was like, I need to do something big to make myself feel something again that made me feel like good.
Right.
So I thought the best thing I can do right now is tattoo my face. And I went in the bathroom with my little setup that I had that I bought off of Amazon. And
was it the gun?
Yeah.
Was it the green one that you used?
Yeah, the first green one that I had. And I looked in the mirror after I stenciled it onto my face with a little broken heart, which ironically is the side that Pete had his on.
Yeah, rest in peace, Pete.
And then I tattooed it, filled it in, and I remember waking up the next morning to my foot being slapped because my mom woke me up and said, "What the fuck is on your face?" Because my parents were hoping that I would never tattoo my face.
Yeah,
and they were very, very upset, and I almost got kicked out because of that.
Yeah. You want to hear a crazy story about Xans?
Yeah.
So, JD was there, and his sister was there, so I got witnesses, right? So, there's these guys that came from Cali, I guess, I don't know, or Florida, something, right? And they had a bunch of shit in their car. You could tell that they were driving cross country. And he opens up the trunk. We're getting buggies. I'm helping JD get buggies or whatever. And this dude's like, "You want some Xanax, blah, blah, blah?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude." So I got them, and I was like, well, shit, I only got like an hour boring, so until I gotta leave, so I popped 2 footballs right there, just 2 more. Bro, I went home, I'm like driving, I'm like, oh fuck. I'm feeling this, bro. And I think at that time I lived at Geronimo's. But like that, Xanax, I hated Xanax. Hated it. It made me feel like a zombie. Gibby's girlfriend, the first time she met us, bruh, I was off of like 2 or 3 bars.
Ooh.
I smoked like at least an 1/8 to myself, not including, the little group session smokes that we have, or the hot box that we used to have. And then we at least killed like a 1/5 of something. And we still had multiple bottles. And JD brought a couple girls and stuff, and let's just say Evie's girlfriend was not too happy. I was not there. I didn't know who I was talking to. I was like, blah, blah, blah. Bruh, I'm just gonna say, at that time of my life, I was consistently depressed without me knowing. Well, I shouldn't say without me knowing. I knew, but I just didn't know how to.
Like deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the biggest things about it is like first like recognizing it, that it's a thing and it's happening to you. But the other thing is like, even though the stigma is a little bit lifted right now, like there's still work to be done, because a lot of people don't know like what to do, if they like, or who to reach out to, or like if you don't have someone to reach out to, that's what most people I feel like struggle with, is finding that person. For me, I didn't want to talk to my parents about it, because I think I did try, and I'm not like, I don't want it to sound like my parents didn't believe me or something. It's just that like when you're
It's
like,
awkward. It's different.
yeah, when it's something that doesn't normally get talked about,
Right.
and when you bring it up and they're like, no, it's okay, you're just sad. Like everyone gets sad a little bit now and then.
No, I'm more than just sad.
No, I think it's more than that, and I think it's worth checking out.
Yeah. But trust me, I'm telling you, I might slit my throat tomorrow night. Who knows?
But you can't really say that, especially to your parents.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear that.
You're like frantic.
So, for me, it was luckily I was a little bit on the older side of our grade when we were in school. So when I think it was senior year, I turned 18 before, like right before the school year started. I was 18. So technically, even if I did go to a doctor, I didn't have to have my parents come in with me, so I could talk to the doctor privately no matter what.
Right.
And I went to the guidance counselor at school and asked her about like, what do I do, how do I find a doctor, where do I go to talk to someone about this, because it's starting to become an issue and I don't know what to do about this. I've never had to deal with this before.
Right.
And so pretty much like you just have to find someone on your insurance, like who's like with your insurance. I just called the number on the back of the insurance card. There's like multiple numbers for like multiple different types of things. Like you can call the mental health line, or you could call like, I should just bust out the card right now and see
If
what's
you
on
want to,
there.
do it, man. I
And,
ain't gonna stop you. He said, I got it on deck just in case.
Just in case. Let's see what this bitch says.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like travel coverage, provider services, pre-authorization. They have like all these numbers on there that you can call. There's like what, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm sure if you call like one number, and because
Yeah.
if you don't know which number to call, you just call a number and
You just
tell
call a number, and they're all part of the insurance, so they'll know who to
them send you to.
or even give you the number, the correct line that you're supposed to call. But then they sent me like a huge list of, these are all the places you can go to that are like therapists or like practitioners, nurse practitioners, like all sorts of people that are affiliated with like mental health. And
Right.
then that's how I started, and I just went, like, did it by myself. Like, I just told my dad, like, hey, I need to see the insurance card because I didn't have a copy yet. And he was like, what for? And I said, just believe me, I just need to see it, and I'll tell you guys about it later. And that's all he needed to know. He said, all right, here you go. And
how old were you when you did this?
18.
18. Okay.
So it took me up until I was 18 to actually, like, start looking for where to go.
Right.
So put that in perspective, that means 6 years ago I started to get help. But some of the help wasn't the best.
Well, you have to experiment.
Yeah, you got to find that that person, or like that place that you can go, or if you're seeing like a psychiatrist. Difference between a therapist and a psychiatrist.
Yeah, because I don't know. So, because my mom, I think I don't know what she would be considered as, because she helped, like, you know how you have those quote bad unquote kids.
Yeah.
Like, she would help them, but and we lived in, you know, you want to call it ghetto or projects or whatever you want to call it. We lived in those areas, those environments, and my mom was all about helping people, and I never knew, like, if she was a therapist or a psychiatrist or whatever she was. I mean, she still does it to this day. She has a master's degree and everything, and I guess she's really good at it, but that was the worst, because, like, she would try to do the shit to us kids, and we knew what she was doing, so it was like, you better back up, because I know what you're trying to do, and you ain't gonna do this to me. And, like, I think that's why I got a little bit rebellious. But go on.
But the difference between a therapist and a psychiatrist: therapists can only talk to you about your problems. They can make like a recommendation of maybe your doctor should try to put you on this drug, but they can't prescribe you anything. A psychiatrist talks to you about your problems and then prescribes you medication.
That's what my mom is. Yeah. She's able to prescribe medication.
And then there's, like, technically there's a third, and that's just nurse practitioner, because you can talk to, like, any combination of those three too. Because I actually have a nurse practitioner and a therapist. So the nurse practitioner deals with
your medications,
my medications, and they just check in with me like monthly, or I think it has to be every month now, but like they could go a couple of weeks or something if it's a newer medication. And I know a lot of people don't like medication, but for me, it seems to have worked. But that's because...
Well, you're probably not abusing it too. That's one thing. There's a difference between abusing it and then... Or either not taking it at all.
Yeah.
Like, you'll get prescribed it, you think it'll help, you take one pill and you're like, oh, this is
it doesn't... It's not doing anything. Yeah. It only took one pill.
So what do you think is going to happen? Nothing.
It takes a little while for it to start getting through your system.
Right.
And one of the biggest things is when I know a ton of people that go to the therapist or go to their like psychiatrist, and then they are prescribed medicine, and sometimes the medicine doesn't necessarily always do this, but it can start out just making you feel a little bit weird and funny. Like, you might not feel good the first week that you're on it, but it's because it's like physically fucking with your brain.
Right.
It's trying to restructure it. So it's like trying to release those different like neurotransmitters and like get you to like function so that you're not always going like to be depressed.
I want to say something on that. So how you say, that first week you might feel like shitty and stuff like that. So this podcast is about motivation, right? I know we've been talking about like depression and stuff like that. And obviously it's gonna have like, you know, a more, what's the word? Like sad tone, I guess. Like it's gonna be more mellow, blah blah blah. But I also want to say, you ever meet those motherfuckers that start a project and then within a week or 2 weeks they quit, and then they wonder why they can't go anywhere in life, and then that can lead to depression and stuff like that because they don't have that commitment. They have commitment issues.
Yeah.
So it's like with the same thing with the medicine. Like, don't be afraid to take it for a whole month to see what happens. And then also, I'm probably sure you've tried multiple different medications.
I've been through probably like somewhere between 4 to 6.
Yeah, and
that I've had to try.
And everybody's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I was talking to Crystal actually about that. We were talking about how like everybody's mind is wired different, everybody's chemical imbalance is different, everybody's hormones are different. It's like it takes time to figure out what will work for person A. And then for person B, it might not take that long. Maybe the first medication works and you know, blah blah blah. But that's why a lot of people don't understand because they just want to feel that instant gratification. They don't want to wait. They want it done now.
And that's not to say that like if you feel really weird and shitty on a medication that you should stick it out like necessarily the whole time. Like if something's actually coming up, like you start taking it and then you start thinking, man, I'm gonna kill myself. You should definitely go to the doctor again and tell them like, hey, this thing isn't working right. But like.
So how long does that usually take though? Like, if you have for one of the medications you took, how long did it take you to know that medication wasn't working?
Anywhere between like a couple weeks to maybe a couple months, because the very first one that I was on, it was one of those cases where I was just seeing a therapist because I was 18. That's the other issue too, is sometimes people don't want to take, you're still considered, like even though at 18 you're an adult, you're not like technically an adult, quote, adult, until you are like in your 20s is when like Psychiatrist wants to start talking to you about stuff and maybe prescribing you stuff. It's so it was one of those cases where my therapist made a recommendation to my family doctor about putting me on something, and I was on, I think it was called Paxil. I can't remember if that's generic or the brand name.
It's generic.
Yeah.
I think my mom's talked about it before.
But that one is probably not meant for younger people.
Yeah.
Because I had never had a history of cutting up until I started taking that. And then I started taking Paxil and I started cutting.
But why would that make you start cutting?
I was in a way more depressed like state than I was previously. Like sometimes, like there are those warnings on medications that say if you start feeling more depressed, which can happen, then stop taking it and tell your doctor. Well, that was just one of those cases where it was making me feel more depressed, and I felt like the only way that I could feel anything anymore was to do something about it like that, like cutting.
And this was before you got your tattoo.
This was before I started doing tattoos.
Yeah. Oh man, if you would have had the
if I would have been on tattoo shit back then, I would have never had to deal with that.
Yeah, you would have been like, another tattoo tonight, another tattoo tonight. You would have had like 600 tattoos. You would have done. Have you ever? I saw on Snapchat this guy, big, like muscle meathead looking dude, right?
Yeah.
From his neck all the way down to his toes.
I saw that.
Blacked out.
Just blacked out
Just
the whole
blacked
way.
out. I'm like, what?
Yep. And there was like a picture, like half of a picture before that showed like some of him that had tattoos on him, And then the next picture was just him all just black, other than his like neck and his face.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm like, how long, especially with that guy that size,
Yeah.
how long would that fucking take? I know they have like those big ass shader needles that they can use, but that's still
that would still take a long time. Like we're talking probably like weeks worth of sessions.
yeah. Woo, that I could only, and then you have to wait for like a certain section to heal, and then I mean he could have start like one session down here, next day go up,
Yeah.
next day go down here, next day go
Yeah.
something.
But that would cost so much money too.
Dude. I could only, unless he did it himself, which I mean that's a possibility, but
It's possible that it's on
how's he gonna
himself,
reach
but,
me
like,
behind?
Yeah, you can't get all the way back there.
Oh shit. So I have one question for you.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this?
Okay.
I don't know. Okay, that's all you.
Okay.
That's all you have.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go. I'm ready.
All right, Mark. Here we go. The big old question. How's Tinder treating you?
Oh boy.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Well, it kind of mellowed out. When you first start, it starts real quick, and then it kind of dwindles down a little bit for me. That's how it always goes for me. That's why I constantly delete it and re-download it.
Yeah, because it goes real quick and then
It goes real quick and then it'll chill out. Yeah, that's
nothing, no funny stories about it.
I mean, what do you want to know?
I want to know everything and anything.
Anything and everything. Okay.
Look at him.
Let's see where to begin.
Dude, we touch on a sensitive subject. He's like, maybe. I don't know.
I don't really know. Let's find out. Be a little more specific. Give me something to start on.
Okay. Okay. Actually, tell the people about what happened when you came to visit me at work
Okay.
with that girl. Yeah. Go ahead.
Wait, with what girl?
It was like you were at work and I was at work and you visited me. You downloaded it right then and there, and one of the first people. That
Oh,
listened.
that one.
Yeah.
The one that
I don't want to say anything too much and give it away. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so I matched with someone like probably within the first 20 minutes?
Less than
10
that.
minutes?
Yeah, I'd say 10 minutes.
It was like 10 minutes. And I matched with someone, and I'm normally pretty good at pickup lines. And I don't.
What's your best pickup line?
Best pickup line is a visual pickup line.
What?
Are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
Alright, what you do, I kind of have to explain it a little bit so it kind of diminishes the value of it. But if you do this 2 out of 3 times, guaranteed, it works.
You tested this?
Tested this.
Statistics,
Statistically,
baby.
2 out of 3 times, it will work, in my experience.
Okay, go ahead.
What you say is, if you were a pirate, would you put your parrot on this shoulder, and you touch one of their shoulders closest to you, and you say, or this shoulder, and you wrap your arm around them to touch the other shoulder.
Wait, so this is a picture?
It's like, no, it's a visual
Okay.
thing. Like, you have to physically do it.
Oh, to the person.
To the person.
Wait, oh, how do you do that on Tinder though?
That's what I mean.
Oh,
Like,
so you have
can't-
to get with them first, and
yeah,
then
you kind of pick
So
up a
it's-
conversation to the point where they want to meet you,
Okay.
and then you pull that move on them.
Okay,
And
that's
then
pretty
it seals
cliche.
the deal.
That's pretty cliche. You know that, right? That's pretty dorky.
It is.
But I'm gonna let that. Would you want the girl on this shoulder,
or
this
this
shoulder?
shoulder?
I like it. I'm gonna use it.
And 1 out of 3 times, they're like, "Get the fuck off me."
He's so serious. What the fuck you touching me?
What the fuck you touching me right now?
It's like she had a high pitched voice, but then all of a sudden it's like
she's like,
what the fuck you doing?
Oh my god, you're so cute. Let's go hang out and stuff.
and then you're like, pull the parrot line, and then they're like, get the fuck off me.
No, don't touch me. Alright, go back to the story though.
Okay, so
10 minutes within, got the match.
10 minutes, got a match in 10 minutes. I'm normally pretty good at pickup lines. I just started out simple this time with going off of the person's bio. It was like something about getting a beer, so I said something about I'll buy the beer. And they said like something about I can't get my notifications to work. It seems like I don't get any like notification when you message me. So I said,
Oh, but she also said at the end when she said no notifications are getting through, can I have them digits?
no, that was the second part.
Oh, was it? Oh,
Yeah, because she said, do you know how to fix it? And I said,
yeah, that's
and
right.
I was like, I think you just go to your settings,
Right.
but I don't know.
Like you thought it was a legitimate question.
Yeah, and then she waited like 10 more minutes and then said, well, it looks like no notifications are still coming through, so how about I just get them digits? And I was like,
We blew our mind because we thought she was like legit, and then like all of a sudden, were the tables turned, or like was Mark getting picked up lined? If I don't know how.
like, was I getting picked up instead of doing the picking up?
Yeah. Like I didn't get it. I was like confused.
Like, did that happen to me?
Yeah, to me, the master.
The master has been outdone?
But then all of a sudden turned into a bot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a bot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a bot.
And if it wasn't a bot, then I blocked someone.
Yeah, so rest in peace.
Rip.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so the Tinder, what has been what's the best match you've got so far?
Like in a history of doing it ever, or like
Since you got it.
Probably this one dude. Like, should I use his name?
Yeah,
All right.
It doesn't matter to me.
Because it's only a first name, so it's
yeah,
not like
it's
anyone
not
would know.
like, yeah.
It's not like I'm giving out any personal.
No, if you
All right.
guys don't know either, too, Mark is bi-curious or bi, or would you say that you're fully bi, or?
I would say that it's still bi-curious because I've never actually done anything with a guy.
Right.
But this guy that I matched with, Chris, is like really awesome to talk to.
Okay.
And
what does he look like? Do you have a picture? Can you bring him up?
I already showed you him.
Did you?
Yeah.
Was it the one that had that night? Was it like one of your first matches?
It was one of the first ones that I got with the would-be bot.
Okay, yeah.
It was one of those first two.
Okay, I got you. I know who it is now. You're good. You don't have to show me.
Okay.
I'm like, go on.
I was still gonna bring up the picture anyway. He's cute.
Love it. Go on.
But yeah, he's just like he's fun to talk to, and we were talking about. He really likes geography and history, I guess.
You got geography tattoos, bro.
What?
Don't you have
Geography tattoos? What are you talking about?
Maybe you don't.
Geometry?
Geometry.
That's math.
Thank you, Tom. Been out of school for a long time. Okay, so geography is land.
Yes.
Geometry is math.
Yes.
All right.
Unless
slap
it's
my hand because that was bad of me.
unless it's like geometry, because that's what an acorn says when he grows up.
Mark doing Mark things. All right.
Yeah.
Back on track.
Back on track. Depression.
No. Finish talking about
Tinder first. Okay.
Go on.
Well, you said back on track. So,
all right.
anyway,
listen, Mark has 70 tracks per day.
I have too many tracks.
Yeah.
Too many.
He's like, and they're all hits. hits. Just nobody knows yet.
Nobody knows, but they're all hits.
Yeah.
One day they'll be golden and platinum and all that other shit.
We'll have 1 million views and plays and downloads and what was I thinking of? Oh yeah. Go on though.
But
So he's easy to talk to, likes geography.
geography and history, which I suck at.
Yeah.
That's my worst. That's my worst area in any kind of academia is those two things.
Yeah,
I'm a numbers man.
me too.
I'm currently going back to school for accounting. I am a numbers man.
Woo woo! Alright, go on. So what have you guys been talking about? Don't mind me asking.
We actually were talking about, like, very briefly what we're talking about, because I mentioned, like, he was asking about my tattoos, and obviously the face ones get brought up all the time because they're on my face.
Yeah, you can't hide that.
You can't hide that unless you're wearing a mask.
Mask. I'll rob your shit.
And it got brought up that I like have depressive episodes and stuff like that because that's what happened when I did that face tat.
Yeah.
And and he said like, oh, like I don't mean to pry, but like if you want to talk about it, I'm open to it. And that's like one of the best mindsets that you can have. Is like if you want to talk about it, then you can. But if you don't want to or you don't feel comfortable, then don't.
You know what really amazes me is when people like at the workplace or something. I'm sure you've experienced this. Like people try to go pry into other people's lives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then they come up to you, be like, "Oh, did you blah blah blah?" And I'm like, "No, because like I mind my own business. If they want to talk to me about it, they can come and talk to me." And then they'll ask me like about that situation. Like if they did talk to me, I'll be like, "You gotta ask that person." Because out of respect, I'm not going to talk about other people's business that are willing to open up and talk to me about that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And if that dude does that too, like he doesn't go spilling the beans or telling people about you or anything, that's a good person. That's a good person.
That is a good person.
That's hard to come by. Anyway, go on.
I don't remember what.
So you were telling us about how he don't mind me prying, but if you want to talk about it, you can talk about it. So did you talk to him about it?
Kind of, like briefly, like
Okay.
I just mentioned that like. And here's the other thing that I forgot to mention about like because we're talking about depression. There's obviously different kinds of depression. I have manic depression, which is bipolar.
Okay, wait. Before you go deeper detail, what are the others?
There's just like regular depression. I don't know all the types, but the main types that I know are like just regular depression, where it's just kind of mild and you'd have like intermittent depressive episodes. There's major depression where it's all the time, like all day, every day. Everything just feels like it sucks all the time, and you really need to get some kind of help for that, or else like you start feeling like the worst, and that's probably when bad things happen.
Right.
And then there's also my type where it's like it's manic depressive episodes. So like you cycle. There's actually two types of bipolar as well. So there's like manic episodes where you're like really, really high, you have like these grandiose thoughts and you feel on top of the world. You usually do things you don't like you have so much energy, and then you come right back down and you sink down to like, I'm depressed, I'm feeling like shit, I don't want to do anything, just like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And then you'll go right back from that, you'll all of a sudden just go right back up, and that's bipolar type 2, which is what I am. I'm pretty sure that's how it is. Type 2 is what I am, I think. And that's where you go back and forth all the time.
Okay.
And part of what I'm on like medication wise, is like a mood stabilizer, so that it kind of takes that fluctuation and levels it out, so that I'm not constantly going back and forth.
Big
between
spikes and big drops.
spikes, big low, like big drops, big spikes again.
Right.
I'm just kind of more even. So if I have a little bit more energy one day, it's not too much, and if I feel a little bit more depressed one day, it's not.
It's like moderate.
It's not detrimental.
You can handle it. It's
Yeah.
easier to handle, I should say.
And then bipolar type 1 is like the same thing, but it usually is like, I'm pretty sure type 1 is characterized by just one big hypomanic episode followed by constant depression, like
No
cycles.
shit, really.
Yeah,
Damn.
so you have that one big spike and it drops down,
And it just goes ba 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 ba.
and then just like little cycles of like, instead of going back up and feeling manic again, you just come back up to the norm and then go back down.
Okay.
So it's kind of the same thing, but instead of feeling manic in
You
between,
just feel normal.
you just feel normal.
Okay. That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be garbage.
But like if you're like me and you have manic episodes, that's when I would be like, I would go into work sometimes and I'd be like, hey guys, I haven't slept in 2 days. And they're like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you here? And I was like, 'cause I gotta go to work, silly.
Yeah, what you mean?
What do you mean? I'm fine. Because
fuck.
But deep in my mind, I'm like, I need to get out of here so that I can go make poor financial decisions.
Poor financial decisions.
That's usually one of the big things too. If you're in like a manic episode, is you'll mismanage your money.
Yeah.
So like, you'll spend like, not even spending money. It's just like, I'm gonna take out a loan for $10,000 and start a business, and then you fall through on the business because you get depressed after your manic episode.
So you
is
ever
over.
done that?
I haven't gone that bad, but I have taken out a loan on my car, like
Okay.
a title loan,
Yeah.
and that, like, I was fucked for a while,
Yeah.
and it was like really hard to pay back because I had to spend all the money, and I like paid off a bunch of bills and stuff that weren't even mine because I was engaged at the time for the first time,
Yeah.
and it was like, just in my head, I was like, I'm gonna fix everything because I know what I can, like, I know my limits,
Yeah.
and I have none. So,
I have none.
I have none. My limit is the sky.
Limitless. Let me just pop this pill real quick.
Let me just do all the shits. And then it hit me after like the episode was over. I was like, what did I do?
Oh no.
Oh no. And that usually drives into the depression, is when you're like, what just happened?
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't imagine. I'm pretty good with the financials, but like I've been thinking about taking out a business loan for all my other businesses that I've been doing.
Yeah.
But like then at the end of the day, I'm like I get some revenue and some profit, but it's like I don't want to put myself in the situation where kind of like a what if. Because if I don't succeed at it, like I accept failure, but like I've been failing on and off and succeeding. Like this past year, 2020, been a really good year of success, but at the same time, it's like, man, when I succeed so much and then I fail, you go in that state where it's not like I don't get like really bad episodes, but it's just I know what I'm feeling now, and since I know, I kind of emphasize on it. So I start to take it out on other people, like you'll text me or something like that, and I just won't text back until like 2 hours later or something, because I'll just sit there, just sit in the bed, nobody here, like just by myself, and just sit there and just think, and then I start to overthink, and then it just boom, 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 boom.
Big snowball.
Yeah, big snowball, and it's just like I feel bad for like people that go through that, because I understand, And it doesn't have to be with financials either. It could be with anything. Just like you're starting school now, you're going for your accounting.
Mhm.
Bro, that's a hard area. That is very competitive.
Yeah.
One bad grade and then it could fuck you up for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And you could be like, damn, like.
My grades are already kind of iffy
Yeah.
coming in because I'm technically a junior with how many credits I have. You have to have like 70 credits to be a junior, and I have like 79.
Right.
And
But they're not all towards.
they're not all towards my like major, but when you look at my cumulative GPA, it's like a 3.04 or something like that.
Which still isn't that
Which
bad.
isn't bad,
Yeah.
but it's like,
What is that? Almost all B's?
yeah, that's like getting all B's.
Yeah.
But there are some A's in there, there's some C's in there, there's at least a D,
Right.
and it was mostly me just not knowing what I wanted to do, and I wanted to play off of a little bit of what you said just a little bit ago, where you said like you accept failure.
Yeah.
That's the other thing with depression too, is like you kind of just have to accept it. Like, so just like the failure thing, you just have to accept that that's
you're
like
depressed.
a part, that's a part of who you are sometimes.
I see what
You
you're
know?
saying. Okay, yeah.
So like it goes hand in hand with like that, how you're feeling when like with like that motivational thinking, when it's like don't get down on yourself and you think like this is like that's kind of how you have to fight with your depression, is like it's not always going to be this way. It's not always going to be
Dude, you should download TikTok and listen to my goddamn TikToks. I post like almost every single day a daily motivational TikTok.
Really?
And I just speak on it. Yeah, you haven't heard any of these?
No,
we're
I
recording
don't
with my
use
phone.
TikTok.
I was gonna say I was about to use my phone and look it up, but we're recording with it. But fuck, like it could be about like it have different things. Like the one is like, what will you sacrifice? Question
Mhm.
mark. Like that's the main like title for it. So like for 60 seconds, I just talk about that. Like, are you willing to sacrifice an extra 2 hours of sleep to put in 2 hours of work to eventually at the end of the year accomplish a goal that you've been wanting to do?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And I figure like a lot of people that are like depressed and stuff like that, like I know that if I don't do something or I'm not productive, I get really down because I have to stay busy, I have to stay doing stuff. But one of the things that I do a lot that I can boast about is I don't get in like big depression states because I constantly feed myself with positivity.
Yeah.
So like on my way to work, right? I live 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you want to say, from the Walmart I work at, right?
Mm-hmm.
But on my way, what do? I listen to an audio, motivational audio. It could be from, some of my mentors. It could be from like a YouTube motivational collaboration or compilation, whatever you want to call it. It could be, even like a song that's motivational. That's like, that gets me fired up. That gets me pumped up for the day. And that will give me a good start of my work day. Or when I wake up and go for a run, bro, that's like meditation. I don't know if you've ever meditated.
That's another coping mechanism.
Yeah, dude,
Meditation.
I love meditation. Like, I used to, dude, when I was little, so I'd listen, my mom would work out in the other room, but blast the music, right?
Mm-hmm.
She'd be blasting some hardcore rock shit, right? So I'd sit on the couch and I'd just rock, like let myself bounce off of it. But I wouldn't even think about the music. I wouldn't listen to it. I would just bounce.
Mm-hmm.
But I would bounce to the beat, right? So that would automatically like put me in a trance,
Yeah.
and then I would be like thoughtless,
Mm-hmm.
and I would do it for like the whole hour and a half she was working out. And I think that's why like when I grew up, I still do it to this day. Like I'll find a couch or something. Right now I can't because I got that whatever you want, futon, whatever.
Yeah.
futon. The futon. But like that's a lot of the stuff about depression. I feel like how you say coping mechanisms and stuff like that. If you can prevent it before it happens,
Yeah.
you will stay on top of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, I feel like if a lot of people out there just understand that, like, yes, everybody's human. We all have our good days. We all have our bad days.
Yeah.
That's plain as day. That's gonna happen. It's okay. Okay. Like, I'm not saying that
That
I'm
rhymed.
perfect. Really? Did it?
Yeah. Plain as day. It's okay. You rhyme.
Okay. I
Alright.
spit bars. What do you mean?
Sorry, it's your boy.
It's
Dipsy
your boy.
Whistle.
It's your boy OG Buddy in the crib. You know what I'm saying? With Mark Slizzy. No,
Mark Slizzy.
But no.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah. It really is just a big factor of being prepared for what you know is gonna happen. So when you say depression, you gotta accept it because that's who you are.
Yeah.
Well, then fucking accept it. Know that
Yeah.
it's gonna happen. So being prepared. I grew up, my mom's crazy. She has bipolar. She's all this and that and whatnot. And you know what? A lot of that stuff runs in the genes. My dad is too.
Mhm.
And they're okay with it. They live their normal lives. They have their own ways of coping with it. So it's like, if I want to be successful in any type of way, I gotta go above and beyond. You know what?
Mhm.
Like, I'm trying to, like, they live normal lives. I don't want to live normal lives. I
Yeah.
want to be that successful entrepreneur. I want to be traveling. I want to be doing shows. I want to be talking on stage with a bunch of people. I want to be reaching out and helping people understand why they think the way they think and what they should do to overcome. I don't know if you ever seen Gary Vee, but he's a big entrepreneur inspiration to me. A lot of just being prepared and understanding who you are, really.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. I don't know if the meditation thing is just what I was trying to get back to, sorry. But meditating is so good for not just your mind, it's good for your body and your soul.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, I've read a book, it's called The Power of Now. Caruso actually put me on that. Caruso put me on to the book Power of Now.
I think I've heard of that book.
Yeah, it's by Eric Olard or something like that. I don't know how to say his name. It's kind of put together, I guess. I'm bad with names too anyway.
Yeah.
But it's very, like, right now we're talking, right? We got the video going, we got the recording going, and we're talking. But right now I have another me right here standing watching our conversation in the third person.
Yeah.
So it helps me understand and listen better and react better and like understand what's happening and accept what you're saying and accept what I'm saying. And so that way I don't lose track of what's going on and stuff like it. There's a lot more to that book, but it's just meditating again. It comes back to, it helps feed. It's just, I think meditating is just amazing. I think if you can meditate, you don't have to meditate for like 3 hours on the
Yeah.
day.
You can do it for like as little as 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's
like,
all it takes.
Sometimes in my therapy sessions, like we'll just sit there and meditate for a minute.
Yeah.
Like we'll just take a quick like little 3-minute, 5-minute break and just, all right, we're gonna meditate. Let you like kind of unwind. Just let everything go. Just breathing and focus on the breath.
Yeah.
Like you think of something, just label it as a thought. Let it go.
Yep.
Come back to the breath, and then just keep going and just relax your mind, unravel all that pent up stress and everything
Dude,
you got.
man, that shit is crazy. Yeah, good luck. Anyway, but a big thing too is they're like, I don't have any fruit flies down here. I think there's a fruit fly that's just been
Maybe
chilling.
it's a gnat.
Is it a gnat?
I don't know.
It's
They look-
literally-
they're the same size.
Yeah.
I think.
It's literally just this one. I don't know where it came from. Hell
Maybe it's
yeah.
our spirit animal.
Maybe, I don't know. A gnat.
A gnat.
A gnat.
Gnat.
Dude,
Matt. Matt's gnat.
Listen, you know how many times in cross country a gnat would fly into my eye as I was running? And you know how frantically I'm trying to get the shit out and trying to but like it I fucking hated that shit, dude. Hated it.
One of the times back in like it had to be 7th grade because that was the only grade I did cross country.
I remember that.
One of our races, I got stung by a bee.
What? Which race was that?
I think I can't remember quite which one it was. I think it was. I can remember the scenery, but I can't remember.
Explain the scenery.
It was. I don't think it was the Billy Goat one,
Okay.
but it might have been the Billy Goat one.
Was there a big hill?
I know that that's like where the big hill was. I can't remember the rest of the course.
It was like you were running in between trees and
There was like a big field, and I think it had like maybe a soccer field near it.
That was the starting line.
Okay, then yeah, it was that one.
Okay.
Well, we started running, and within the first 5 minutes of this race,
No.
I felt this immense pain all of a sudden in my side, like right above my hip. And I thought, did I just like get smacked by a stick or something? Did I like run so fast and someone like, I don't, what the fuck happened? Whatever, I'm gonna keep running. And I ran the whole race. And then we finally finished, and I get done, and I'm like, man, what the fuck is going? And I look, well, there's a big ass welt and a stinger in it.
Oh no.
A bee got into my jersey, stung me when I was running,
Dude.
and I ran the whole race
I would have been pissed.
with a bee sting. And we didn't know if I was allergic or not because I hadn't been stung ever until then.
Well, you were allergic then, right? You were
No,
okay?
so I was fine.
Yeah.
But like everyone was freaking out because they were like, "Are you allergic?" And I was like, "I don't know."
I mean,
I don't
might
know.
be, but
Am I? What happens when you're allergic to a bee?
Yeah.
Am I fine?
Do I lose my legs?
Do I swell up? Is my throat closing? Is what's supposed to happen when you're allergic?
It's like the thing from what's it called? Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Check that is the blueberry.
The blueberry
Does that
swollen up.
happen?
Is that what's supposed to happen? Do I get hives? What
Dude,
happens?
I got
Do I get hives because it's a bee and bees live in hives?
I got stung in the ear.
In the ear.
In the ear.
Like in the ear?
They had
Or
to
like
put
on the ear?
No. They had to put medicine in my ear.
Ooh,
Yeah, I was like 3 or something.
that's nasty.
Yeah, dude.
That's gnarly.
It was a bad, painful. It was like, you know how you only remember like a few memories when you're young?
Mhm.
That was one of the memories I remembered because it hurt that bad.
Do you remember your first ever memory?
No.
I remember my very first
Wait,
memory.
so does it consider like not when you're newborn, just like whenever you remember something?
Like the moment that you like the way that I remember it was my thought process. You know how you you can reflect back on things that you've done
Yeah.
when you were younger, and
Yeah.
when you, even though you were like 4 or 5,
Yeah.
hey, you probably talked way back a bit,
Yeah.
like little babbly,
Yeah.
but you think of it as like this structured thought of an adult because
Okay.
you're reflecting back on it with what you now know.
Okay.
So I remember thinking when I was 3 years old, after I started remembering, I was sitting in the living room watching TV and the rest of my family was eating dinner, and I really, really had to go to the bathroom. And I had to run upstairs to tell my mom I have to go to the bathroom. And like that's what I remember as my first ever memory. But I remember thinking during that time of me walking up the stairs, we called it the stairs, but it was like 3 steps.
Okay.
We lived in a ranch house.
Gotcha.
But I was walking up those steps, and I thought to myself, "What the fuck is going on? How do I know words? What are words? Why do I know how to say this?"
No.
Yeah, like that's what my thought process was as a child. Was like, "What's going on?" And then after I thought, "What's going on?" I thought, "How do I know that?" And then like when you say things, like when I was saying words to them, and I was like, "I don't know how I got here."
Really?
Like that's how I came into consciousness, was not understanding what consciousness was.
That is the weirdest. That is the coolest, weirdest way of like
Remembering
something. Dude, I didn't learn how to talk until I was 5.
Really?
Yep. And then I had a speech impediment because of it.
Okay.
The only person that knew what I was saying was my older brother, Pat.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally talk straight up gibberish. And he'd be like, "Oh yeah, he wants a chocolate milk." And that would be what I wanted. I'd be like, I don't understand how he knew it, but he knew. I'm just like, what the fuck? Wait, what? But no, I was like, damn.
Yeah. Who wants a chocolate milk?
Yeah, right. That's what it came down to. But I'm gonna end this on a good note. I just want to say, good luck to all you guys handling your depression. Keep going. Don't ever give up on whatever the case may be of finishing school. Chasing after that girl or boy that you madly in love with, I guess. I don't know, or starting up a business, anything.
It doesn't matter what it is that you're going after. Just go after it.
Yeah, just go after it.
If you don't follow your own dreams, you're gonna follow somebody else's.
Yeah. Sheeple.
Don't be sheeple.
Don't be sheeple. That is the keynote of this. Don't be sheeple. But no, go after it. I'm sure you'll feel 10 times better after you go after it. Even if it doesn't work out, you're gonna feel better that you tried at least.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I do. I don't know if other people would, but I'm sure you would. You have anything else to say?
I mean, the thing that you regret the most is the things that you don't do, rather than what you did do.
Yep, for sure.
So always do the thing that you want to do, I guess.
Yay! Mark being motivational. Alright guys, this is KG Overtime. I hope you guys have a good one. Hey! How was it? How'd you like it?
That was fun.
Yeah, isn't it? Isn't it so much fun?
I like it.
I told you. That's exactly what Gibby said when we finished. I was like, "How'd you like it?" He was like, "That was fun."
That was
I'm like, listen. I'm like, dude. I was like, this is why I try to tell people like this.